¿no?
Pobrecita.
Que la chica.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hola, buenas tardes, bienvenidos.
Gracias, somos Efraín y Roberta Meneses.
Gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, bienvenidos.
Hello, everyone. It is 5:30. I'm going to get us started with our introductory slides and setting up interpretation before we jump into the meeting. At this time, I'm going to invite Tanya, our interpreter, to share those instructions with you all.
Thank you, Liz. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your meeting. We want to remind you that, as usual, we have simultaneous interpretation available for this meeting. So we all need to choose a channel. That way we can communicate with each other. If you would like to hear the meeting in English and you're joining with a computer, you will see a globe at the bottom of your Zoom menu. Please select the globe and select English. If you're joining with a cell phone or a tablet, your options will be a bit different. You need to tap your screen and find the menu with the three dots either on top or at the bottom of your screen. Select a language interpretation, select English, and then select Done. If you need any help accessing the interpretation, please let us know in the chat and we can assist you. And I'm going to give my instructions in Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos a su reunión. Queremos recordarles que, como siempre, tenemos la interpretación simultánea al español disponible ya para ustedes. Así que si ustedes ingresaron con una computadora, van a ver el icono de un mundo en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. Por favor, seleccionen ese icono y seleccionen el canal de español. También pueden silenciar el audio original para que nada más escuchen la voz del intérprete. Si ustedes ingresaron utilizando un teléfono móvil o una tableta, sus opciones se van a ver un poco diferentes. Van a tocar su pantalla y van a buscar el menú de los tres puntitos que dice más o more, ya sea en la parte de arriba o abajo de su dispositivo. Seleccionen los tres puntitos, seleccionen donde dice interpretación de idioma, después seleccionen español, nuevamente silenciar el audio original y por último, muy importante, el botón que dice done, listo o finalizado. Si necesitan ayuda accesando a la opción, pueden dejarnos saber en el chat para poderles ayudar. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Liz.
This is Liz. Thank you so much, Tanya, and also Diana, for being here and providing these interpretation services for everybody. We just want to make it clear at the beginning that if you are having any technical difficulties, if at any point you are not able to hear the interpretation for any reason, even if you think it might be an issue with your computer, please do let us know. We would prefer to pause the meeting to make sure that everybody is able to fully hear and get that interpretation so we can all engage. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you are having any issues. I'll continue moving us through our logistics slides. Here you are seeing our naming conventions. For all of our CSC members, we ask that you put the letters CSC in your Zoom name. And if you are a resident who is a member of our stipend program, please put the letter R. As a reminder, this is very helpful for us for our attendance tracking and stipend distribution process. For all other attendees tonight, if you are here representing an agency, we also ask that you put that in your Zoom name. And if you are joining as a member of the public, we ask that you put the letter P in your Zoom name, and we will be sure to bring you into the conversation at those designated times for public comment. Here we have reminders of our virtual meeting etiquette. We ask for everyone to stay muted unless you are speaking. And if you are calling in on the phone, you can press *6 to mute and unmute. We also ask for folks to raise your Zoom hand if you have a question or comment at any point tonight. And this helps us keep track of the order and who we should call on next. And if you are calling in on the phone, please press, or you can press *9 to raise your hand. And a final reminder here for residents in our stipend program to stay on for at least 75% of tonight's meeting to qualify for that stipend. Here we have our group norms. We won't take the time to read through each of these since we have quite a few items on our agenda, but keep in mind each of these items that we have all agreed to help have our productive discussion with respectful dialogue. Here is the agenda for tonight. We will officially transition to some welcome and introductions before we move to our air monitoring update. Then we will hear updates about the CERT measure implementation, and then we will have an update on wildfire resources and outreach. Then we will have our usual standing updates with a few agencies who are prepared to share some key updates tonight. And then we will close out with our next steps and some agenda setting before our final public comment. So I will stop sharing my screen and just want to officially welcome you all to the 74th South Central Fresno Steering Committee meeting. It has been a little while since we've seen you all now that we're on a quarterly meeting schedule. We just want to start off this meeting by acknowledging that there's a lot going on in this world, both locally in Fresno, as well as nationally and across the world. And with all the uncertainty and everything going on, we also want to acknowledge the importance of sustaining the momentum of this work. And also recognize that each of you in attendance tonight bring so much expertise and value through your lived experience. And we just really appreciate each of you joining tonight. As your facilitators, Amy and I are both privileged to be in this space with you tonight to support you all as you continue to make the most out of this very important work to improve air quality in your community. So thank you all for being here tonight. And with that, I'm happy to welcome Ryan, our Air District representative, to share some opening remarks as well.
I'll keep it brief. Thank you for being here tonight. I know it's been a few months since we've seen each other, and so look forward to some updates and hearing from all of you.
Thank you, Ryan. This is Liz. I am happy to transition us to our next agenda item, which is the air monitoring update. The purpose of this item is for the Air District to share updates regarding the status of your South Central Fresno Community Air Monitoring Program and the results of that recent air monitoring. And of course, we will ensure that there is time for questions and any comments that you have. So we do invite any clarifying questions that you have as we move through this presentation tonight. Any more substantive questions we will hold until the end, just in case your question gets answered at a later time. And so I am happy to pass it to Brad, who is going to get us started.
Good evening. Believe Nancy's going to be loading up the presentation right. I got the thumbs up. Great. Just excited to present today, going over our Q2 data with you. And just sorry, I forgot to. My name is Brad Dawson. I am the supervisor for our community air monitoring program throughout the Central Valley. In previous presentations, Anthony Espinoza has been giving some of these updates in the last couple of years. He is retiring, so I'm taking over in his last couple of days here at the district to give this presentation. So Sean Smith on my staff is attending as well. He will be taking over from Anthony as your specialist, maintaining and operating all of these equipment. So I just wanted to let the community know that we do have a couple of staff changes, and Anthony's looking forward to enjoying a fruitful retirement. So with that, next slide. So over this update, we're just going to reiterate and kind of go over our implementation plan and where all the sites are at, review some of the data that we have collected in this Q2 period, and kind of explain what we have seen. And then we will have a couple of OC updates, just kind of sharing what we do on our outreach side to make sure we notify the public for episodes of poor air quality. And then finally, as Liz mentioned, we will open it up for questions, comments, and recommendations. And again, we're excited about this. The camp, all of our monitors have been fully deployed. You can see on this chart where they are all at. We have deployed 8 dedicated air monitors for this community. And then there's 2 regulatory air monitoring sites that will never go anywhere. They are permanent at Foundry and Drummond. Foundry is right off of 99 and Jensen, and Drummond is right down the street off of kind of more into the Kawa, right off of Jensen as well. But this is kind of where everything is at, and everything is currently online. I will reiterate this several times. We do report all this data live to the community's portal page as well. And just to recap, you may see these out in the community. These are what some of our air monitors look like. The monitor on the far left is a dedicated PM 2.5 monitor. In the middle is a multi-pollutant monitor with that PM 2.5 monitor kind of on the back of it. And on the far right is our full-blown air monitoring trailer where we have a lot of different types of equipment and different monitors in there as well. All of these do, again, report live to the server, which gets pushed live at the top of every hour pretty much to the community's page. Just as a recap too, oh no, we're fine right here, sorry. Don't mean for Nancy to be bouncing around. We have in the last couple of months have been adding signs to our more visible sites as well, just to increase the visible nature of our program. So if anyone is walking by any of these sites that are accessible by the public, whether it's like you can see it through a chain link fence or anything like that, the public can take there's a QR code and the website there. So we're trying to direct more people to the website that may not know what this architecture is in their neighborhood, and add visibility to our program. And again, we do have air monitoring vans that we have deployed in the Fresno community multiple times based off of community concerns. If we didn't have an air monitor right next to that area, we have done several different campaigns where we have taken our air monitoring vans out to collect data and compare it against the rest of the network. And just a quick recap, we are still continuing to do localized air monitoring for this community. We have fully deployed everything across the network based off of the network design driven by the steering committee. The air monitoring van, as I mentioned before, is still always available based off of areas of interest from the community. And then we have been doing extensive PM 2.5 VOC speciation sampling and laboratory analysis since 2019. And as always, we always seek input from the CSC on any air monitoring deployment or data analysis. And just a quick recap of what we're going to be going over again. This is going to be pretty much looking directly at our last quarter too, so the last April, May, and June of this last 2025 year. We'll kind of compare that against the previous year's quarter as well, just to kind of get some comparable numbers where we are at and where we have been at. It's no shocker to us, but the spring is usually the cleanest part of our year in the Central Valley. So you'll see a lot of low numbers. We're really excited about this really low numbers. And then again, as I've mentioned several times, we're proud to make sure that we are presenting all this data to the public, real time, live to your community portal. So here we're kind of going to start with a lot of data review, looking on a grand scheme and kind of narrow it down all the way down to daily averages. So this first slide, we're showing the total of the quarter per site for this period based off of individual sites. So on the left-hand side, we are measuring off of microgram per meter cubed, and there is a line right across that chart. That is the new federal PM 2.5 standard of 9 micrograms per meter cubed. That was updated from 12 in 2014, so we're just using that as a new baseline, comparing all these numbers. And as you can see, we are very similar throughout the years, all the way going back to 2020, where we are seeing only a very small 1 to 2 microgram differences across our sites. And on the right side in the hashed marked areas are some of the regulatory sites that do have comparable PM 2.5 instruments such as Foundry, Clovis, Garland, that's operated by California Air Resources Board, and Pacific University. What is to note is that out of this average for this period, we were underneath the 2024 federal annual 2.5 standard this entire period. So that's really what we are trying to shoot for. Next slide. So now we're going to we had the average for the entire quarter for sites. Now we're going to kind of nitpick and look at each month's average. And as you can see, I got tongue-tied. It's been very similar across the board. We don't see any sites exceeding that 9 microgram standard on these averages. One site Fresno Foundry, did exceed it by like 9.3 or something like that when I was looking at the data presenting these charts. But all of the community sites throughout this time period were at 9 or below. And so we looked at the quarterly average, we looked at the monthly averages for the sites, and now this is looking at daily averages. When you're looking at a 24-hour average for our sites, the standard changes to 35 micrograms. So that's why there's a new federal standard up there, because that's based off of a 24-hour standard. And just to explain this chart, the green is representing the good air quality, yellow is moderate, orange is unhealthy for sensitive groups. And during this period, we did not have any days where we exceeded and got into that unhealthy for sensitive group area. On all these lines, you can see all the sites trended quite well and with each other the entire time. We didn't really have any huge outliers. In this chart as well, on the gray highlighted area is our previous year's highest site on average, to kind of show a comparison from last year's highest values versus all of our sites currently. And what you can see is, like, last year we did have more spikes, different air quality, weather patterns that were occurring during that time period. Still, everything was in the good to moderate range, but we definitely were a little bit lower and more linear on all of our data throughout this time period than in years past. No days were higher than the previous year. And now to get to one of the slides that everyone likes to talk about. I know the 4th of July is not in quarter 2, it's in quarter 3, but we just all experienced it. And the 4th of July is always, we see hourly spikes in PM 2.5. It happens across the board. We are really impacted in PM 2.5 based off of residential firework usage. So here you can kind of see, based off of the hours, once the sun set, we were under 10 micrograms for pretty much all of the sites, but once the sun set, PM 2.5 did rise up to a little over, I think, 62 micrograms per meter cubed from that 7 to 10 o'clock range, and then it dropped off significantly. So we always see this large impact from PM 2.5 based off of firework usage. The more closely our monitor is to a residential neighborhood, such as Yosemite Middle School and Edison High School, those are the sites that have a lot of residential nearby right next to our monitors, and they're impacted the most. Our most remote site, which is Madison Elementary, which is on the far west side, kind of more of an agricultural community, still is impacted, but not as significant as the rest of the sites that are more densely populated. And when we're reviewing this data, we wanted to kind of compare it to years past as well. And I'd just like to highlight, every year that I'm going back through our data all the way back to 2020, we have seen a decrease in this day. Back in 2020, some sites were peaking at 309 micrograms per meter cubed. 2021, we were at 158, 2022, 129, 2023 was 120, and in 2024, we're down to 106 as a high. This year, our highest was 62. So we are seeing an annual decrease in this peak day hourly that we experience with all this firework usage, which is contributing to an 80% decrease from when we started monitoring till this last season. Right now, I'm going to take a moment and hand this off to Zong in our OC department. She's going to explain some of these news releases that we released to the public during bad air days.
Thank you so much, Brad. Can you all hear me okay? And I'm looking on my screen, just want to make sure I can be heard. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Zong Song, and I am part of the outreach and communications team at the Valley Air District. As Brad mentioned, during episodes of expected bad air quality, there are a number of things that we do in outreach, and one of those include putting out news releases, press releases, like the one that you see here on this slide. These press releases, they go out to the media, and they share this information through their channels, through TV, radio, through print. And then we also share this information with health departments so that they can also alert their different agencies. And on the house school side, we also send out alerts and emails to our contacts that we have through the different schools and school districts. And not only that, on this slide and on the next slide are also examples of send out timely social media posts so that way the public can also get an alert and make timely changes on their end when they see something being posted. We often post on Facebook, on X, Nextdoor, and on Instagram. And many of these posts will include links and things to look out for and what they can possibly see and expect. And Nancy, if you want to move to the next slide. And so here are examples of some of the posts that we've put out in the past. One is when there was a big wind event that we were expecting. So that was put out on social media. And then this one on the right side, that was a post on, I believe, Nextdoor. So we're trying different ways to make sure that the public as well as residents get the information in a timely way, so that way they can take steps to protect their health if they see some impacts. I think that was it for my slides, and I'm going to send it back to Brad. Thank you so much.
Yep, and just a couple of final slides here before we can open it up for questions. It is always good to know if you do see something in your community, see something of a concern, please call into us. We have a 1-800 number on this slide. That you can call in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to an inspector that can go out there and address any air pollution control issue that you may have in your area, whether that's from any concern that you have, pretty much. We also have an ability that you can make your complaints to us through our website at valleyair.org/complaints, or you can use our Valley Air mobile app. If there's something that you are actually visibly seeing, maybe that's something burning or a lot of dust in the air, you can take a picture with your cell phone and then you can actually include that in your complaint as well. When you do issue a complaint, we will have an inspector contact you back. If it's after hours and our offices are closed, you'll leave a message, but that message goes directly to the inspector on call. They get a notification on their phone and they'll be calling you back just to get more details. So when we go out and do our inspection, we can be as thorough and knowledgeable about what you are experiencing at that time. And then finally, again, I've mentioned this 1,000 times. This is something that we are incredibly proud about, especially in my team, is that you can see all this data live to the nearest hour at our community air monitoring page listed here, where we have the real-time air monitoring data. We include quarterly reports of all pollutants that we measure, and as well as some historical data from the air monitoring vans that we have deployed in the past. CARB statewide air monitoring portal is still being updated. They are ingesting our data as well. Their website is listed below as well, which we are sharing our data with the state on an hourly basis as well. So as soon as we get it, we push it out to the state and to the community. And I think that is it. I think I already see a hand up from a caller, but there may be other questions here and there.
Thank you so much, Brad and Zong. This is Liz. I do see that we have a caller in. We will go to our CSC members first. I do believe that is a public member. So Lily, I see your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Buenas tardes a todos. Estoy mirando las plataformas de monitoreo del aire comunitario. ¿Quiere decir que los monitores todavía no son estables o son movibles? Porque les miro llantas, entonces quiere decir que son movibles.
Yes, all of the platforms that we have deployed are mobile in some sense. Some are fixed to platforms so they don't blow over in the wind. Some are trailer based. so we can move them around, which has been very good to have. We had one monitor at West Fresno Elementary School, but due to construction at that site, we were able to rotate it around on that school property to get it to a different location, and then redeployed, keeping that monitor in the same area and not losing a site due to their construction activities.
Pero no se pierde el data de la contaminación que hay en el medio ambiente en el área.
If we ever moved a monitor to a different location that is drastically different, we would have to drop that data and then restart a new data set to a new site.
Yeah. Brad, I think for Lilia's question, no, we retain all the air monitoring data that we've collected from each of the sites. So even if it moves a little bit, we still have all the historical data. Nothing goes away. We keep it all.
Sorry, thanks, Ryan. I was going in a different direction on that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Gracias, Ryan.
This is-
Otra pregunta. Las vans, yo las he mirado aquí en mi comunidad también, aquí conduciendo de un lado a otro. ¿Nada más están en Málaga o están en todo el área del ABC17?
The vans only are deployed. They don't do mobile monitoring. They don't monitor while driving down the road. It adds too many complexities to data points, and we can't really pinpoint where the pollution is actually coming from. So we usually place the vans in an area of concern that has been vocalized by this community several times in the past, and we've done those. And then we'll place it in a secure location for a long-term period so we can kind of get an average without having to move it around. So that way we have a better understanding of what's happening right where the concern is located at.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Liz. Love the great questions. We have a couple hands up, and again, I will go to our CSC member first. So Ivanka, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Thanks for the presentation, Brad. My question is, when we see the spikes on the 24-hour over the previous quarter that's reviewed, are we cross-referencing to the fire department's calls to get a better sense? So once we see the spike, what's the next step, I guess is my question, in the investigation process? And this is really, for me, coming from the overabundance of pallets here in 617 area, in the industrial area. You've seen it if you've been out there with the monitors at West Fresno Elementary, to the street that you drop your kids off at, directly across from the school, are pallet yards and the truck parking. And then, just like if you were to look 2 weeks back from now, we had a huge brush fire on another site that's going to become industrialized near another pallet facility across from Orange Center Elementary. So when you get this information, I think this isn't a new conversation. It really is. That's great that we're collecting the data, but now what? How are we using that data? And how are we using that data to improve enforcement? I do find, and I appreciate my calls when I've made complaints and I appreciate the inspectors at the Air District. They're very quick to respond, even if it's at a really weird hour. But at the same time that I'm reaching out to you guys, because it's either a pallets, unfortunately, small homeowners are getting into the pallet business, and we are seeing pallets in backyards in the community, which if that takes off, we're all in trouble. Like, our whole community is going to go up in smoke. So that's really, I hope that's clear enough, but for me, it's like, this is great information. How are we about to use it? How are we using it in conjunction with the fire department, not just the city fire department, but AB 617 boundary is both city and county roads. And so are you guys cross-referencing to make sure if we see a spike on one night, was it one of these industrial fires? Was it a pallet fire? Was it a neighborhood fire? What exactly is it beyond just, we know 4th of July is bad?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll field that one, Brad. Yeah, it's a good point, Ivanka. And when we do see abnormal readings, yes, we investigate it. Like Brad and his team work with the compliance department to try and isolate what is the cause of that. That's the nice thing about getting this data, that it can be flagged for us and give us alerts to when we're getting these abnormal readings, and then we can take action. And thankfully, outside of some of the examples that you highlighted, we don't see a lot of those spikes. For the most part, the readings are pretty consistent across the air monitors, and we don't see abnormally large spikes most of the time. But when there are, then yeah, we definitely have investigated it. When we've done air monitoring updates in the past, we've kind of flagged some of those events, and then provided that additional information to the committee. And we'll continue to look to do that.
Now, I would just like to add, Ryan, as well, to Ivanka's question. A lot of our sites do have cameras. We put 4 cameras north, south, east, west on several of our sites. So just because we do sometimes see spikes here and there, and we go back to the cameras. Sometimes the instrument is it gives us great information, but we still need to know what's going on there. And so we use the cameras as a visual tool to kind of highlight, hey, was there a fire? What was going on over there? And relay that back to our compliance team as well, so we can continue doing investigation, making sure that what was going on in the middle of the night when we saw a high peak, and we can zoom in. And we have taken enforcement action on several sites because of that.
Thank you all. And I see a hand up from Dr. Curry. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm curious about how you account for data that may be missing when we get notifications that some of the sites are down. And so when there's a site down in, say, Edison or West Fresno, how are we accounting for the fact that you're not catching that data, and whether or not that represents a spike, whether or not we have as much accuracy in terms of fully reporting? So how do you take into account the number of times the site is down, what kind of data might be missing, and how do you average that into what we're seeing right now?
So there are some sites that are experiencing higher temperatures inside the shelters because the air conditioners have failed. We are actually moving forward with replacing several of these AC units. We've contracted with the local air conditioning company to provide replacements for some of the failing units. We also make sure that when we are looking at validating data and data that's coming in, we have a 75% rule. So if 75% of the hour we have received quality data in, it is considered a valid hour. If it does not meet that criteria, we have to drop that from the average. And all this data that we have presented and that we chart takes all of that in consideration when we are doing this. This is the bad and the good and the ugly as well. So that's why we see those peaks in the 4th of July, where you see some things just increasing pretty high. instruments aren't perfect, unfortunately. You actually see a gap in data at the 7 o'clock hour at Heaton Elementary. The instrument did not provide a valid hour, so that data was flagged and removed from the data set, not to skew any of the rest of the averages that we see across the board. So we are still moving forward. We're still upgrading. We are still adding better equipment to this community. The heat in Fresno is horrible. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I think depending on the circumstances, and this is one of the nice things about having a mobile unit. You know, if a unit does go down, and we've done this in other communities, if a unit goes down for a reason, and we're expecting it to be down for an extended period, you know, thankfully, you know, Brad and the team are very adept, are very skilled at their jobs, and are able to get them up, generally speaking, pretty quickly. But if we knew, for whatever reason, that was going to be down for an extended period of time, that's where the van can play such an important role in, being able to deploy that and continue to get readings in those areas. And like I said, we've done that in other communities. If that were to happen in Fresno, especially if we were seeing, when it went into a unit, was down for any period of time, if leading into that it was reading high readings, or if we were expecting to see high readings, then that would be something that we would collectively get together, talk about, and figure out a plan to make sure that we are capturing and providing information out to the community.
Thank you all. This is Liz. I see Ivanka hand up. Go ahead.
I think Laura's hand was up before mine.
Yes, thank you. We did previously, yes.
Well, I
Go ahead,
found
Laura.
some air monitoring on the road that's running along the west side of Edison High, and I found peak PM 2.5 when the wind was blowing from the west-southwest across the dirt field. I was driving. I actually got out of the car a lot of points and double-checked, and it was still went over by the way into the shoulder of the road. I double-checked, and I found out that the PM 2.5, the background was about 20 AQI to 30 AQI, and the PM 2.5 was proportional. It was there was nothing inconsistent. But I remember the AQIs. I'm still looking for my papers, but the AQI was about in the 20 up to 30 AQI for most of the areas for the past half an hour or the past 45 minutes before there, and then when I got to this dirt field, near the dirt field, it was midway between, it was almost a Church Street. Almost a Church Street was on the west side of Edison High. It went up. The AQI went to 50 AQI, from about 20 to 50. And then I realized it was a path of high readings, and starting from the direction of Foster Farms, and this path of PM 2.5 was going across the dirt field, and then diagonally across Edison High and coming out, and it was even a little bit high, but not as high as on the west side. The northeast corner of Edison High was a little bit high. It was 30-something AQI. And I was wondering why that was high, and then it was even higher when I went to the west side, and the wind was coming from the west-southwest at that time, which it doesn't always come from the west-southwest, it comes from the northwest, so you don't see that at the time. And it seems like a direct path, through this dirt field to Foster Farms. And it was the reed was a brown carbon you detected, right? It could be chicken feathers or chicken feed or chicken manure, or just dirt from the field dirt. Maybe she could bring the air monitoring van over there. And just put it in different locations you don't normally put it, and put it there, and also put it there when the wind is coming from the west-southwest, or it's changing. There's a certain time of day when the wind stops. It has a pattern, and every day in the morning, like a 9 or 10, the wind stops and starts coming from the south or the south, and then it goes to the southwest or southwest, and then the west southwest, and it's just stops and changes direction at a certain time of the day and gusts different directions.
You know what, Laura?
Always,
Laura, can you hear me? This is Ivanka. What you're
Yeah.
saying just brings up another idea, which is while, and Dr. Curry just said, like, when these areas are down, and you're actually also bringing around the point of even west of where we have the Edison monitor, if those points when the Edison monitor is down, or any of them that are down because of the heat, are we bringing in the mobile van at that point to collect that data? And if the mobile van is collecting more data than the one that's actually on top of the school, then we possibly could be seeing and making up, like, is that a possibility that you could bring in the van into the areas that Laura is talking about, which is actually west of the school, especially on the times when the Edison monitor is down? And my other question, I'll just leave from that. But Laura, if you could let somebody from the Air District answer that. Thanks, you guys.
because when the wind stops and starts changing direction, there's always a peak at Edison High on the monitor. Every time the wind
Yeah.
stops and changes direction.
Laura, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Really appreciate you raising this concern about air quality and would love to hear some answers from the Air District about how we could monitor the specific area you're bringing up. I'm not sure, Ryan or Brad, do you have any answers to that?
Yeah, I can't really speak too much on data that we haven't ingested ourselves because I haven't looked at it. So just in the concerns that we have deployed the monitor, PM 2.5 monitor at the Edison site. And that site has been on the PM 2.5 relatively reliable in providing long-term data from that site. Some of the gaseous instruments, not so. But if there is a concern and a request from the CSC that we try to get the van kind of in some of the more deserted areas outside of there, that's something we can definitely consider. I don't know if Ryan had anything else that he wanted to say. He went off mute.
No, I think you covered it. Yeah, I mean, if we know that there's equipment down, I think Brad, you made a good point in regards to the not having the same issues with the particulate monitors at Edison as we do with some of the other analyzers that are there, like ozone and other pollutants. But yeah, I think in those cases, if it's not something that it can be fixed quickly, then yeah, we can look to deploy the mobile van.
This is Liz. So I think I'm hearing a request from a few CSC members to get that mobile air monitoring van in a very specific location. I'm not sure if we were able to catch that in this meeting, but maybe we can have this as an action item to follow up with these CSC members to note down that specific area and get some follow-up about putting the mobile van there. How does that sound? Dr. Curry, I see your question. The decision to relocate the mobile van is based on community concerns. It sounds like you're asking if it is based on community concerns.
I am asking that question, and I'm thinking that I saw that as a statement in part of the presentation. So I think that this is an area that people have expressed concern about previously, especially because the Edison monitors are often reported, well, they're reported as being down. And so I'm curious, what's the process? And if it's your decision based on community concerns, since you're hearing the community concerns, what would be the next step?
The next step would be trying to locate an appropriate area to deploy the van at. Now, if that is deploying it at the same site as Edison, we can probably get that done pretty quickly. But if this is at a different location, because of where the van is at, we want to make sure that if it's going to be staying for a long term, that it is secure, that we do have some level of security. We don't want to park it just on the side of the road anywhere. We also require some sort of electrical infrastructure that we can tap into. We've done that with different communities. We just got done with deploying it in the Port of Stockton. So we have deployed the vans in all of our communities pretty much, most significantly in Fresno, where we used to have it in multiple different sites, especially in the downtown area. And all that data is still available on our website. So the next steps would be if the CSC would like to deploy it, just to narrow down an area that we can try to figure out what a good location would be for the van to be at.
Yeah, but some of the sites that were brought up, Brad. I mean, we've done shorter campaigns, day-long campaigns, other things with the van. That's still something we can do. I'm assuming Edison High School, if we knew that van or the monitor was down, there may be a good chance that they'd be willing to work with us to leave the van there for a period of time while we resolve the issues with the air monitor there. So I mean, as in terms of an update, I think there's some deliverables that we can do. We can make sure that we have that conversation with Edison High School, make sure that they would be okay in those circumstances, and then if we did have those in the future, then we could look to deploy it. So I think we could come back to the committee with some concrete answers to those questions. But if in regards to individual sites of concern, if you provide them to us, then we can look to maybe do some shorter term monitoring, see if we're seeing any issues, and then if we're seeing something that is significant, then obviously maybe then look for a site where we could deploy it for a longer period.
I just have a follow-up for, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, I do appreciate that Laura has called out an area that is of concern for the community. And so if you have a monitor at Edison, but you also are looking further west, that also makes sense to me. So we would try to capture that data. And we know that's an area that has had problems before in terms of emissions. So yeah, that just makes sense to me.
And I just want to follow up. There's been a lot of talk about Edison being down. Dr. Curry, were you mentioning probably about maybe a week or two ago where there was maybe a brief period where the monitor was down and we notified the public on? Is that what you're commenting on?
I'm commenting on that, yes, but I'm also just remembering and recalling that throughout the last couple of months, there have been periods where we received these notifications that the monitor is down at Edison. So yes, recently, but also the past situations where monitors have been down and we've been notified. So a global question about capturing the data, but then more specifically, what's happening in the Edison area, since there tends to be a higher reading from there anyway.
So I just want to do a little follow-up and make sure that I'm clear on presenting this. We did have a monitor that had a brief period that it was down. What ended up happening was that the monitor, something on the equipment actually failed. And we had staff out there pretty much daily troubleshooting that, replacing parts, replacing pumps. We actually replaced the whole monitor itself. We do have extra equipment here, and it came down to that it was a full-on system pretty much. And so we had to redeploy the whole thing. I think that's one of the reasons why we didn't deploy the van immediately, is because we thought it was a quick issue. We were able to fix it. It came back online for a couple of hours. Valid. However, those data points were not valid because we wanted to make sure that the instrument is stabilized. and then we would learn that something has failed again. So it was a learning process for us moving forward with that monitor. We do have the PM 2.5 speciation at that site as well. So we did not lose any PM speciation for that site, which also grabs mass as well as all the other compounds in PM 2.5 that we analyze as well. So yes, we did have that instrument. We were working on it pretty much on a daily basis where we had staff out there doing the repairs. But we also had other equipment still online kind of as a backup sampling for PM2.
Thank you, everyone. This is Liz. So just to make sure that we are properly tracking these action items, it sounds like we will have some follow-up from the Air District as you work out how or whether you can place that mobile air monitoring van at the specific site that Laura raised. And just to clarify, it sounds like it's not necessarily at that same Edison High School location, but somewhere close and somewhere downwind. So I'm not sure if somebody in this meeting, maybe Laura or Dr. Curry, if you could clarify the specific location in the chat, or we can have someone follow up with you after the meeting. But just want to make sure that we are being very clear about what we are going to track here.
Based on what Laura said, I have a pretty good general understanding of the location that she was referring to. There's a chicken plant and some other operations that are west of the high school, and I believe she was referring to downwind of those facilities.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you,
Thanks,
Dr.
Dr.
Curry, for
Curry.
adding that in the chat. Oh, I saw a hand from Ivanka, but I think you took it
I
down.
put it in the
Okay.
chat of a safe location, details in the chat for that. And while we're saying downwind, I appreciate what Laura was saying is it isn't always just downwind. We do get circular patterns in West Fresno. And so she was pointing that out. And yes, downwind is good, but if you were trying to get a combination of safe location and looking at speciations that are when the wind isn't always just downwind, but it's circling patterns, which we do see. That's a possibility it's another possibility. Dr. Curry's, she also put Fruit Avenue and Edison High School. So that was it.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Laura, for your patience and for sharing that concern. And we are going to add that to our action item tracker. At this time, I'm not seeing any other hands raised or comments in the chat. So I think we can close our air monitoring update and thank Brad and Zong for presenting. And we can transition to our next agenda item, which is the CERT measure implementations updates. And so tonight you will hear some updates about some of the recent progress implementing your CERT, and specifically about the urban greening and residential lawn and garden measures. And so I'm going to pass it to Ryan, who is going to get us started. Ryan, you are muted.
All right, everybody should see the presentation.
Yes.
We'll go over, like Liz said, we'll go over some updates. So one of the ones that's been consistently supported by the Community Steering Committee, and we've shifted funding towards doing more of are the lawnmower exchange events. Happy to say that we're having the next one Saturday, August 23rd at the Fresno Fairgrounds. This is another one of the events that's going to be combined with the Tune-In Tune-Up program. So this is where people can bring their vehicles and get the emissions from them tested. And if they don't look like it would pass a smog test, they can get a voucher to get repairs done on their vehicle to cover hopefully a lot of the costs for that. In addition to that, we're going to have district staff there. We are continuing to really try to get as many people signed up as possible for the residential air filtration, the free devices. And so they're going to be there. They're going to go car to car asking people if they've heard about the program and whether or not they've already received one. And if not, then we look to help them sign up right there. Excited to say that we have 369 residents that have already registered to attend the event and to pick up a lawnmower. Understanding that we were having this meeting tonight, we extended the date for the portal. So if you know of anybody that could benefit from either having their car checked or receiving a residential air filtration device and need some assistance, need some help, please have them go on the website. Nancy, can you go and drop that link to the website? If anybody needs any other information from us in regards to that, please let us know, and we're happy to get you materials for that. The next thing, Mona Cummings is the head of Tree Fresno, and she always does an outstanding job of coming and providing these updates to you in person. And she's taking a well-deserved break, and so she wasn't able to come tonight, but she definitely wanted us to share some important updates with you. They just did a recent tree planting at Mid-Valley Disposal. They planted 81 trees as part of that. We've had this taking advantage of this unseasonably cool weather, which I'm sure all of us are thankful for. It allowed us to do some of these plantings later than what we're usually normally able to do. As temperatures go up, the planting season, it no longer becomes a good time to plant trees because there's a lot more tree loss as a result of planting trees in the hotter temperature. Some other exciting things going on. So Tree Fresno is working with Fresno Unified Schools to coordinate several plantings at the schools within the boundary at Hidalgo, Sequoia, King, Jefferson, and Edison. As these events get planned out, we'll be sure to share that information out with the Community Steering Committee members. Oftentimes these are volunteer-based, and so we always look forward to opportunities for Community Steering Committee members and residents and students and anybody else interested to come out and help out with those events. One thing is there was on July 14th, Tree Fresno held a meeting with a consultant that they work with, Sonoma Tech, who has a lot of experience in doing research into the health benefits of the tree plantings. And so they had about 20 business professionals that attended this meeting, including Elite, Fresno State, and the city of Fresno, provided an overview of Tree Fresno's mission and community-based environmental initiatives, introduction to vegetative barriers and their role in mitigating air pollution, and presentation of data supporting the effectiveness of vegetative barriers in reducing pollution levels. And they really sought out input on suggestions for tree plantings, and they then used online tools to then kind of plot out where some of that would be beneficial. And then the consulting company Sonoma Tech is, as mentioned on this slide, is going to be coordinating some ongoing research to track the long-term benefits of the barriers, which is something that several of you, including Ivanka and Dr. Curry, have raised as being important for these types of things. So some really good updates there. Clean air rooms, we bring this one back. We're still seeing steady progress. I would love to see that number get to that 5,000 sooner rather than later. As many of you are aware, it's just a matter. It's never a matter of if we're going to be impacted by wildfires and other fires of some sort that can impact air quality in the community. And so, being prepared, having a residential air filtration device ready, and then, even outside those events, there's a lot of health benefits from just use in the home. I know many of you are aware right now we're having the largest wildfire that we had in the state this year. It just exceeded 140,000 acres right in San Luis Obispo. We've been fortunate so far in that the prevailing winds have been directing that away from the valley. But Ivanka, as you were talking about swirling winds, I mean, when those winds have swirled, we have seen impacts at our air monitoring sites in Bakersfield. So this is it's something that we definitely want to get these units out to everybody. It's positive. We have 2,338 left, but we've given out to date 2,662, which it's a lot of outreach on your parts and working with community organizations and environmental justice organizations to help spread the word about this. And we just need to continue to have all your help in spreading that word. Yeah, we're still continuing to do outreach about the events. We put together these flyers. We've showed them to you in the past. We've done these in several different languages. We've added the QR codes, which are becoming more and more in use by everybody. And since we've started doing this and basing a lot of the outreach on the feedback that you've given us, we did see that a good uptick. But like I said, there's still quite a bit of work there left to do. And for the next update or next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Zong to give you a little bit of an update on our outreach.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Hi, this is Zong with the Outreach and Communications team again. Just a quick update on some of the things that we are doing. As you know, a lot of the kiddos are going back to school. So we are reaching out to the schools and trying to see if we can get to some of the back to school nights. And so one of our first ones will be tomorrow, and we will be at Jackson Elementary School. So we're looking forward to being there, and we will also be registering parents, residents who are there who qualify for the Clean Air Rooms program, as well as sharing information about our various other programs and incentive resources. If there are any other school events or community events that you know of in our area, specifically in the Fresno AB 617 community, please let us know. Send us a flyer, send us an email, let us know so that we can see if maybe we can be out there so that we can continue to do the outreach and try to get the information out there. And if you are going to be at an event and want to get the Clean Air Rooms flyer or any other of our program information, please let us know. Be happy to provide them, mail them to you. Just let us know and we can get it to you. And then something that we just recently launched is our newest outreach campaign, which we're calling it Our Valley. And it's right there on the URL right there on the screen, or you can also use your phone to scan the QR code. And on that website kind of goes over some of the different air quality changes as well as improvements we've been seeing over the years, as well as the progress that everyone has put into air quality, from residents to the community members to businesses. Everyone lives here, and so this is a great way to spotlight that. And on that page towards the bottom is also a quick survey. So would love to get all residents participating in that. This isn't just AB 617. So please scan that QR code and do the survey. And we'll put your name into a raffle for a $100 gift card. And that is it for me. And I will give it back to Ryan.
Thanks, Zong. Always do a good job. The last update as part of this is the Fresno Unified School Buses. And I know this is something that a lot of questions have been asked. When are the buses going to be delivered? I'm excited to say, I don't want to steal all the thunder. We have Paul Rosenkrantz, who's the Director of Transportation from Fresno Unified, and he's going to provide more of an update in the standing updates later on tonight. But the school district did receive the school buses. They've tested and used them as part of the summer camp and school transportation within the AB 617 boundary. And so at this point, I'll take anybody's questions in regards to the updates I provided.
Thank you, Ryan. And I see, Paul, that you are off mute, and we will come back to you in just, well, a little later in the meeting for those standing updates where folks will hear more of those details.
I guess
but-
I want to obviously respect Paul's time. If it fits better and if people are interested, maybe Paul could skip the line. But
Sure.
I'm good. This is my first time, so I'm listening in. It's exciting what you guys are talking about. So I don't worry about my time. I'm here. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. And just want to open it up to our CSC members. Are there any questions or comments about any of these updates that you've heard? We heard about vegetative barriers and urban greening, an upcoming event for the lawnmower exchange. Anything coming up? And I just see a comment in the chat from Nazreen about an event in the community, the 3rd Annual Queer Housing Summit. That would be good for outreach. Thank you for sharing. And for all others on the call, if you have other events, please do share with Zong so that the Air District can attend. Just pause for another moment. Go ahead, Lilia.
Sí, le acabo de compartir a Marisela un evento que vamos a tener aquí, Familias en Acción. Va a ser este viernes a las 10 de la mañana. Vamos a tener distribución de mochilas abierta al público. Estará acompañándonos el concejal del área, el señor Brandon Bank, y a su administración. Así es que si gustan poner una mesa informativa, con gusto aquí lo recibimos para que pasen la información, ya que esperemos que tengamos más gente también ese día.
Thank you so much for sharing. Looks like Song is noting that down. And I don't see any other hands raised or comments, so I think we can close this item out, and I will pass it to Amy.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
Yo,
Oh, sorry, Estela, go ahead.
yo le mandé un flyer a la muchacha esta que nos manda mensajes. No sé si lo pudiera compartir, si pudieran venir el día domingo, si pueden, y también me siento muy contenta porque pues ya tenemos, aunque sea pocos, autobuses eléctricos para las escuelas. Eso sí me da gusto. Muchas gracias por todo.
This is Amy. Thank you so much, Estela, for providing that information to Nancy from the Air District. We'll be sure to have the Air District send out all of this information in the follow-up email from today's meeting. As a reminder, we do have a full agenda item that's about sharing updates that are happening in the community. So if you think of more, we'll make sure to reserve some time when we get to standing updates. So with that said, we'll go ahead and transition to our next agenda item, which is regarding the wildfire resources and outreach. As you all know, in California, we no longer have a season of wildfires. It's year-round. We've been lucky to not have huge wildfires right now during this summer, but it's equally important to be aware of all the precautions, aware of the knowledge, and most importantly, as a CSC member, to be able to spread and disseminate that information to the rest of the community in your neighborhoods and to other folks that live in the Central Valley. So with that said, I'm going to pass it to Zong from the Air District to kick us off with a presentation that will provide you with some resources and some updates about outreach that's happening. And then we'll also hear from Brad during the presentation.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm going to share my screen and hopefully this works. It's been a moment since I've done this, so. Can everyone see my screen okay? The presentation? Does it look good?
Good, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here to talk about the variety of wildfire resources and some of the outreach that we do on a regular basis to make sure that residents know what's going on in terms of air quality and when there are wildfire impacts. Let me scoot down. The first slide here, I'm going to talk about the different types of burning. This is a brochure that we have, and if anyone wants it, please let us know. I'd be happy to share it with the community. This is a handout that kind of talks about the different burning. I know that you probably see these different burnings that are happening around the community, but don't realize just how much they impact our air quality. The first one is burning trash, and that one is where, based on Rule 4103, burning trash is illegal. So if you see this happening, anything that's happening, like in, someone burning their waste, yard waste, or, they're using a burn barrel, please let us know. Utilize the complaint line that Brad talked about earlier. You can also scan the QR code there and or give us a call, and we will send out inspectors out to check it out because, again, burning trash is illegal. The second one is residential wood burning, and this is based on Rule 4901, and this applies to indoor and outdoor. A lot of times people think of more indoor, but also applies to outdoor devices, and this is wood burning fireplaces, as well as anything that uses wood and wood pellets. So they would be your open hearth fireplaces and stoves, and outside, people forget that even the fire pits, the wood burning fire pits, are included in this rule. And this rule during the wintertime months, this happens between November 1st through the end of February. So during this time frame, you need to check, residents need to check with the Air District. You can check through the app or give us a phone call and check to see if you can utilize your wood burning fireplace, if this is something that you have and want to utilize. Every day during this time frame, around 4 o'clock, we will put out a declaration for each county, and the declaration will be either no burning for all or burning only if registered or burning discouraged. So if you are using your wood burning fireplace when you're not supposed to, when it's either no burning for all or only for those registered, then there's a possibility that you could get a notice of violation or a ticket from our team. And so we encourage residents to take a look at this and be informed before they use a wood burning fireplace, and to help residents that do have a wood burning fireplace and want to switch. We do have our change out program that is available for residents throughout Fresno County, as well as our 8 counties, to utilize and help them make that switch to a gas insert or a heat pump. And so this is funding that is available, and we encourage everyone to utilize it if you haven't already. The next one is agricultural open burning. This has been something that the district has been working hard on, and it's been a multi-phase I guess, a program. And this rule, which is based on Rule 4103, where we have been phasing out open burning, and so now pretty much it's and there's no burning for ag in the community. Only in certain particular instances can you do that, but after that, it's by January 1st of 2025, it was pretty much it's almost all shut down now for ag burning. So anyone who wants to find out more about it, definitely encourage them to take a look at it. And for those that are in the ag community, there are programs that we have available to encourage them to switch to cleaner devices, or also encouraging them to find different ways to farm, so that they're not adding to the pollution. So we're encouraging them to chip, to shred, to incorporate some of the woody material into soil. So this is on that column. Those are some resources there, and also information for the public to also take a look at. Hazard reduction burning. That's a lot of information more for our families and residents and communities that are in the foothills and in the mountains. So this is when they want to minimize, any burns, wildfire impacts that they might have. So this is where they're encouraged to remove vegetation or woody material around their home, so that way, if and when there's a wildfire, then it will this reduction burning will hopefully have minimize any chances of it spreading to their homes and to their property. And again, there's some more information on hazard reduction burning on that column there. Prescribed burning is where we work with a lot of our partner agencies, and this is where there's controlled burns, so that to try to minimize possible impacts of wildfires in the future. And so we work with CAL FIRE as well as our other partner agencies to make sure when this happens, that the burns are controlled and minimize impacts in terms of air quality. And then finally, of course, wildfires. As Amy mentioned, knock on wood, it's been a fairly good season for the valley in terms of wildfire impacts. But as if you've lived here in the valley in the last 5 years, in 2020, that was one of our worst wildfire seasons. And as you know, while summertime tends to be the main season of wildfires, sometimes some of our biggest wildfires are happening during the wintertime. So it's almost like wildfires can happen at any time. So we want to make sure that residents in the valley know where to go and what resources are available year round, 24 hours, 7 days a week, in terms of, what resources they can go to. And when there are wildfire impacts, then we encourage residents to take steps to protect themselves, which includes staying indoors, changing their filters in their house. If they have health issues, then definitely use face masks. And we'll talk about this in a little bit later, but also there are clean air centers that residents can also go to when there are alerts that are out, that these are places where residents can go to to stay for when they are being impacted for air quality, and they may not have in their homes a room where they can create a clean air, where they can get clean filtered air. So these clean air centers are available and are open to the public. Many of them are public areas like libraries and community centers. And again, this handout is available on our website, and we can definitely share more information, but wanted to share that this is just some information to kind of talk about the different burnings that folks might see impacting the valley. Next slide. And so when we see impacts from wildfires or any other air quality impacts, we do try to reach out to our school districts. We send out newsletters to the school districts. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes when we have news releases, we will send those out as well to our school district contacts. So that way they can take steps to minimize the impacts on wildfires with their students. And so just wanted to share that, hey, we are doing our best to keep in build those relationships with the schools, because they are the ones that are out there working with the students and kiddos every day. Along with that, besides the news releases that I mentioned earlier and the social media that we put out there, we also try to work also with, sharing the information with the public health departments that I mentioned earlier. So just kind of skimming through some of these slides here, just because I also had shared it earlier, but let us know if, you want to hear more about some of the social media that we put out there, because those are our best resources in terms of getting our alerts out there on a timely manner. So wanted to go to the next one here, where we also talk about, when we do communicate with the media, we do it on various platforms. During the pandemic, that introduced Zoom and other online resources that, in the past we might not have utilized as much. And so, but that has given us a new way to communicate with the media as well as other partner agencies. So this is just a quick slide to show that we do this also in English and Spanish, and find ways as much as we can. And we're also learning as well to what new platforms might be beneficial to help share the information to residents. And again here, just a quick couple slide examples of when we do share our messages on social media. These were, you might have seen them on social media as well, on Facebook, on X, Instagram, and Nextdoor. If they, and a lot of times, again, you'll see links, and sometimes we are resharing information that we might see from the National Weather Service or from CAL FIRE. But as soon as we hear about it, we try to get the word out so that way, the public is informed. Besides social media, we also encourage residents to also have these tools handy for themselves. So whether they're using their phones, or they're wanting maybe alerts on their emails, we encourage them to utilize a lot of these apps, these weather apps. And here is an example of some of our apps, like our RAN app, our real-time air advisory network app. If you don't have it, I encourage you to download it. You can get not only the air quality in our 8 counties, but you can also get text alerts when air quality changes, but you can also get data from during our check before our residential wood smoke reduction program. So that time frame when you need to check before you utilize your wood burning devices, that information is also available on this app. And then if you want to file a complaint, you can also do it on here on this app. So definitely encourage residents to check out this app if you don't have it, and download it, so that way you can get air quality information at your fingertips. And then you can also, we encourage residents to check out the EPA Air Now app as well. This is a great app to have. It's handy, especially if you're, say, going outside of the air district. You're going to Sacramento or you're going to LA. This is, from the EPA. And so you can check to see what air quality is in those areas, utilizing the EPA Air Now app. In terms of the our app, it's been downloaded more than 73,000 times. So definitely take a look at it. And here's a little bit more on some of the other tools. This one is Purple Air, and then this one is the Fire and Smoke Air Now app, which highlights the different wildfires or fires that are impacting our state, as well as you can also check out the wildfires that are affecting the country. So if you want to see, what wildfire impacts with smoke that might be happening, like say the Gifford fire or even those Canadian fires, this is an app that will come in handy as well. Besides online resources, some of the resources that we have available includes this infographic. This one we created a couple years ago, but this infographic explains the impacts of wildfire smoke, what PM is and what residents can do to help protect themselves, such as staying indoors, changing the filters, using a face mask, an N95 one, and also consulting your doctors. And how PM affects their everyone's health, especially for those that are health compromised, have asthma or any respiratory issues or cardiac issues. So this is an infographic that we have translated into multiple languages, including Spanish, Hmong, and Punjabi. This is also available for residents or other agencies. If this is something that you'd like to share, please let us know. This is available online on our website as well. And the next one here is an infographic that that we created more recently, and this is again just to reiterate to residents in terms of how they can take steps within their own home to be protective of their health when there are wildfire impacts. Again, that's creating a clean air room. And if you say if you have a window unit or a swamp cooler instead, then we encourage you to create a clean air room with a air purifier, room air purifier. And then if you have a whole house, a HVAC, then, to maintain it, to change the filters. And when there's wildfire impacts, check it more often, making sure that, it's not full of, the soot and the black or the gray that that's collecting in those filters. So definitely take a check on those more often. And then also I mentioned earlier about the clean air centers. Those are available as well in terms of when that's happening. Look at the website and see what's open. We encourage you to I think in the AB 617 Fresno area, the closest one will be downtown at the library, the downtown there. While it's not open 24/7, during the day, if you're looking for somewhere to go to get a reprieve from wildfire smoke, then definitely go there. And then if you do need to go outside or outdoors, then wear an N95 mask. And so this, again, this infographic has been translated to Spanish, Hmong, and Punjabi. So this is available on our website and on our wildfire page as a resource so that, residents know where to go when they're being impacted. And Ryan mentioned a little bit earlier about our Clean Air Rooms program. So again, this is still out there, available for residents in the community. The bigger, I guess the rectangle one on the right-hand side, that's the postcard that we sent out earlier. I think it was in April to residents in the community. And so it's kind of nice to go out during Earth Day, as well as in May, to some of the events in the community, and residents came up to us and said, "Oh, so we got the postcard, so it's real," because a lot of times they weren't sure, if it was just a flyer that wasn't, just a fake flyer or like an ad or something. And so it was, they were happy to see that, it was real, and a few of them, signed up right then and there. And then occasionally we also help them sign up also. So these are flyers that we take to any events that we go to that are in the Fresno AB 617. As Ryan mentioned earlier, there's still plenty of air purifiers that are available. So if you have any family and friends, please encourage them to apply for this program. It's a free air purifier that, that way they can create a clean air room, especially when there's wildfire impacts.
Dong, this is Amy.
Sure.
Looking at the time, you all have a lot of outreach materials, and I want to just remind folks, if they're hosting an event and they want some of these infographics, these handouts, they can collaborate with the Air District to get copies of this information as well, right?
Yes, yes. Please let us know. Let Nancy know, and you probably have access more to Nancy's email because she's sending out lots of emails on reminders or just updates. Let us know, or you can reach out to Ryan or myself. I can drop my email in the chat, or just reaching out to outreach and communications here at the district. Let us know, about the event. If we can make it, we'll try to be there. If we can't, and you're open to sharing our information at a table or just handing it out, let us know. We'd be happy to also provide, the resources to any resident that might be attending on behalf of like an organization or to the organizations themselves.
Great. And I know you still have more to present, and so does Brad. I'm wondering if we could shrink the presentation a little
Sure.
bit, because the community really wants to hear from Fresno Unified
Sure.
School District, and I know Paul's here to give us an update. So sorry to pressure you all. Wondering if you all could think about how to consolidate in the next 5 minutes.
Sure, no problem. So again, I talked a little bit earlier about clean air rooms, so just I'll slide over this slide. And then I do want to share information about our wildfire page here. And so this is a great resource when there's wildfire impacts. They're here on this this slide here. If there's any wildfires that are currently happening that are impacting our area, you'll see it right here on this wildfire page. And then on the rest of the wildfire page, there will be other resources available. On the left-hand side here, you'll see the Clean Air Center. So you can always go here to access it, as well as the Clean Air Rooms flyer and other resources. And then if you want to access the Air Now wildfire and smoke map, it's available by clicking this button up here. And if you want to sign up for RAN, you can also click up here. And then I'm passing on to Brad.
I'm back. One of the other things that we do here at the district is coordinate with a lot of different land managers, especially in our higher elevations. We work with Sequoia King Canyon National Parks, as well as PG&E, who manages some of the land up in the Shaver area as well. We have worked with CARB to create a program where we actually hold and maintain and distribute PM 2.5 monitors to these land managers if they are doing a controlled burn, or even if there's a wildfire that is kicking out of control in the area. We work with them to deploy monitors in areas of concern, specifically where people are residing at, or camps as well. The latest one that we did was Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park did some controlled burns up at Sequoia Lake nearby, and they had campers currently there. So we actually deployed one of the monitors at the Sequoia Lake YMCA camp. And there's some pictures on the next slide. So it wasn't a bad day to go out and deploy it, but this does provide great information specifically to the land partners that we are working with, as well as the people at the camp as well, in case of wind is moving or shifting, and if smokes is being impacted where people are residing at, they can make appropriate changes to their control burns to minimize smoke impacts to the public. We also have staff that attend a daily 1 o'clock wildfire prescribed burn call, where many of these entities, the district, the partners that we work with, collaborate, reach out, and make sure that we are all on the same page, approving burns in certain areas, so that way we minimize the impact of any one area. We do have annual meetings that we just got done with one in April of 2025. And we continue to work with interagencies such as local fire departments, CAL FIRE, and land partners with the Sequoia and the National Forests to make sure that we are all on the same page. This is to monitor for controlled burns. That's what this program for monitoring was for. But we do have wildfires that kick up, and we do get notified by CAL FIRE and other local fire entities that are battling blazes, and we do deploy the monitors in those areas to try to give localized air data back to the firefighters so they can see wind patterns where the smoke is blowing at, as well as informing the public. And these monitors do get reported to the Air Now Fire and Smoke web map. We just recently did one last year in Porterville. They had a wildfire that kicked up. It was a big grass fire. We were able to get out there and deploy a monitor within a few hours of us being notified of the fire, worked with CAL FIRE and got that up and ran it for several weeks until that fire was 100% contained.
Thanks, Brad. And that is pretty much the end of our presentation. So we're open to questions or comments and any suggestions.
This is Amy. Thank you so much for all that information. That's a wealth of knowledge that the two of you have. I'm looking forward to how the community interacts with getting the resources out to the community. If you all have questions, you can put them in the chat and we can read them aloud. We're going to go ahead and transition to standing updates just because we have a lot of guests tonight who are here today to provide the CSC with timely updates. So as we transition, I want to make sure that we prioritize tonight's guest. So we're going to start with some updates from the Fresno Unified School District. So we'll have Mary and Paul. I know I saw Paul earlier. There you are. So if you want to go ahead and unmute and just share your name before you get started and take it away.
Hi, Paul. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
Hi.
you.
Okay, it's Mary Gonzalez with Fresno Unified School District. Good evening. Really nice to see you again. I think the last time I attended was a while ago, so it's nice to see your group. Looks like they've grown too. So basically, we've had several projects through AB 617. Oh, excuse me. Can you hear me okay? Oh, great, great. So we've had several projects through AB 617. So I think that I'd like to just briefly highlight them and acknowledge them. Of course, you're aware of the EV electric vehicle school buses, and they're still relatively new. Oh, excuse me? Okay, they're still relatively new. And along with that, that it's not AB 617 is the charging infrastructure. That particular project, though, fully supports these electric buses. So it's a very important program and project. And we also have projects through the school air filtration program and the alternative fuel vehicle program. And they've all gone very well. A lot of these projects are either completed or near completion. And I just want to really thank your committee for this support and partnership. I want to recognize the Valley Air District team. They've done a tremendous work in creating this whole program with you and making a difference in Fresno County as well as the Valley. So the Air District staff was just really fantastic. They provided technical support. They were always available for consultations, both pre-application and post-award. So we worked with them substantially. I just think they have a high caliber of professionalism and great skills that really has been beneficial to our success. So I just wanted to highlight a thank you to this team. And for the school bus replacement program, we want to thank Crystal Yunker and Colette Kincaid and Anna Myers. We want to thank Aaron Tarango as well. For the school bus infrastructure program, we want to thank David Lopez and Kat Aldo Haish. And for the school air filtration program, we've had a lot of great support from Janine Tackett, Manning Singh, And the compliance team did inspections at 31 schools. So we just want to say thank you to them. And then for alternative fuel vehicles, we want to thank Nia Vu, Stephanie Hitchman, and Stephanie Garcia. Just a great caliber of professional staff. And we just want to thank everybody for, working towards our success.
Thank you, Mary. I am very happy to be here, you guys. It's my first time at this meeting, so I did want to give you guys a very quick update on the 6 EV buses that were awarded to us. I heard somebody say a timely update. I know for me as the transportation director, it seems like it's taken a very, very long time, and I'm finding that with the electric services, it does. So by the time we ordered the buses, it took almost a year and a half just to get delivered from the time we placed the order. But I do want to say this, we're excited about it because these 6 buses, they're not just new buses for us, it's really the foundation of our e-bus program. And so it kind of was a catalyst in having us get started with the e-buses and start expanding our program. So we're super excited to get them. And actually having that award helped us move forward with the PG&E grant that's going to build out our infrastructure for charging. So that project is taking a little bit of time. PG&E, it's awarded, and that is awarded and ready to go. But they're waiting on a transformer or something for it to come in. So we're anticipating, hopefully, as soon as that project is done, we'll be able to charge our buses faster and have them ready and kind of use them a little bit more extensively on our routes. So it's been slow going for me implementing it. We're excited about it. This summer, we were able to use them at hubs at Edison and Roosevelt, and they served more than 30 summer camps. So it was kind of really the first time that we were able to put them in service, and the drivers were super excited. So thank you so much. The drivers, they said they love them. They say they're smooth and quiet. These are the biggest thing they said. They said not only are they running smooth and they're nice to drive, they're very quiet, and it seems to like calm the kids and just make it a better ride for the students. So the drivers are very excited about them. I know that once we get to fully implement them, they're going to be bidding and competing to get to drive those buses. So thank you for that. This year we're starting school, and we're still finalizing the range of the buses, but we want to start working them into our regular routes. So I'm hoping that maybe I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into the year, we'll start analyzing the capacity of the routes, how many students we have on certain routes, and I'm hoping to be able to implement them fully into our school routes this year. So that's kind of the update where we're at now, but you guys might have questions that hopefully I can answer.
This is Amy. Thank you, Paul and Mary, for that update. I'm super excited to learn that the kids are already seeing the benefits of riding those buses. Any questions from the community? Dr. Curry, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so very much for the report. Could you be more specific about the routes that you anticipate serving, what schools are involved, and sort of give us an idea of locations, please?
Yes. So the way we run our routes is we run elementary routes in the morning, and then we do another round to the middle schools, and then finally we serve the high schools. I can tell you that one of the big schools that I'm looking at is Computech in the Edison region. We have students that we're running maybe 20% of our routes go to Computech. And because we have to pick up all over the city for that. But we're focusing on the routes on Roosevelt and Edison, and I don't have more information on the specific route that we're doing. Just it'll capture first the feeder schools, so it'll capture schools like I can tell you Adams, Columbia, King, Kirk, Lincoln, all feed into Edison, Fort Miller, Tioga, Tehippi, Wawona, and Scan also feed into that school. So those are the ones that we're going to primarily hopefully try to get a route on those schools. for Roosevelt, we're looking at Burroughs, Jackson, Jefferson, and Rowell feeding into Roosevelt. Those are the elementaries, and the middle schools would be Tehipite, Yosemite, Kings Canyon, Sequoia, and Turonas. But I don't have, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact routes right now. We're going to start running them. There's a capacity issue on the buses. We got to make sure that we have enough room for that route. And also we got to see how long that route is, because I want to make sure that that it's not going to run out of power when we run the whole day. Sometimes the drivers don't always come back to the yard, so we really need them to get the whole 120 miles and fit those into a route that's a little bit shorter than the others, so that we can run the bus all day. So, sorry, I'm not sure if that's the
Yeah,
whole
thank you.
answer.
Thank you. I just am curious about if all of those schools fall within the AB 617 boundary.
You know what? I'm not sure. I know we were focused when we got them. We're focusing on the Edison and the Roosevelt region. So that's the boundaries that we're focusing on, and those are the two high schools that I think sit kind of right in the middle of the boundaries that we wanted to serve. So I don't know exactly what what that boundary is, other than the schools that we chose are like right in the middle of that area.
Okay, I guess just to be clear, I mean, what I would want to make sure of is that the students who are already living in the most polluted areas are going to reap the greatest benefit. And so the idea of traveling, say, to North Fresno to pick up students who come over to Computech or Edison, to me is a violation of the trust around this is specifically to improve air quality for AB 617 residents and families. So
yes,
it's important to me to know that the boundaries are being respected and that the will of the community is also being respected. Thank you.
Absolutely, I appreciate that feedback. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're focusing mostly on the feeder schools, which are all going to be closest to the high school. And I'm going to take that feed that back as far as the Computech. So maybe we'll start looking at the schools closer. That's really good feedback. Thank you.
This is Amy. Thank you, Dr. Curry, and thank you, Paul. So we'll note that as an action item to have you all come back, maybe with some maps, with the routes, some way to clarify like where during the school year these buses are going and what the travel looks like.
That sounds great. We're excited to get it going. So thank you.
No, thank you. And we also have a question from Ivanka.
Oh, it's not a question. It's just another to support everything that Dr. Curry just said. This is not an afterthought. This was the priority. Does that make sense, Mr. Rosencrantz? I know you're not in this space all the time, but it was a long process of how we were deciding to give that funding to the districts. And we have historically seen in Fresno Unified School District that it's the students of color and that it's the students of low-income communities that fall at the bottom of anything new. And so this is a very sore topic for me. So please get it right. This is not the afterthought. This needs to be brought back to your people and your department. And that is the priority of why we decided to put this much money towards this program and not another allocation somewhere else. Like, I do not want to see students in my district in West Fresno, and I'm going to make a very clear visual for you. I do not want to see my preschoolers and my neighbors' children who only have to stay in this district area of 617 get passed by old diesel buses, right? So the whole visual point is the buses that are in this boundary are supposed to look new with electric vehicles, electric buses. It's not supposed to be what we've seen with Edison, where students outside of educational red line district of Edison get bussed in and reap the benefits of something that's supposed to be for the students of this community. Does that make sense?
100%. So thank you. First of all, I love the passion of this community, and that's the whole reason that we have these buses. So I'm hearing you loud and clear. We want to focus them on routes that are more closer to the community schools in that route, the whole entire route. So that'll be the direction.
That there's a lot of inter-district transferring, and we're bringing students to our side of the community. But like I said, I don't want to see students that are in this community who don't leave to go somewhere else getting passed by old buses. You know, like it has to support the it has to be a solution to what we're already facing.
Yep, I think I hear you and I understand. I will say one of the things I think that Fresno Unified does better than most districts I've seen is that we do have a lot of really great magnet programs, and so that does
Don't
have
get me
us.
started on that topic, sir.
Gotcha.
Do not. Let's not
Gotcha.
go there. Because
I
that is my
gotcha.
definition of educational redlining when you start talking about the magnet and transfer programs. It's not our children that are benefiting from that. It's the ones that are bussed in that come from better neighborhoods and better tax brackets.
I hear
So
you. I hear you loud
I
and
need
clear.
you to not hear us, but act on it. Thank you.
Yep, and just say when I go back, that is the direction that I'll give my routing team, and I'll say find me some routes where we can have these buses serve those neighborhoods, because we do appreciate it very much, and we understand that the whole reason we have them is because of you guys, and that's the neighborhoods we want to serve. So I hear you loud and clear. There's good direction. I'm very happy that I actually got to be here and meet you in person. And that's the charge that I will take back to my routers. And we're going to do our best to get them working in that area.
Thank you. This is
Yeah, thank you so much, Paul and Mary, for being here tonight and providing that update. And it sounded like, just my recollection kind of growing up in that area, the schools that you mentioned are almost entirely in the community. And as a reminder too, I mean, the grant agreements that were signed basically say that the buses need to be operated in the community. So I know it, like, Paul, you don't have all that information at your fingertips, and I know you're working with other people on those routes. And so I'm sure that you'll take back the information that you got tonight and make sure that that's the case. And once again, just want to really, once again, thank you so much and being here tonight and providing that update. And it is exciting to see that these electric school buses are going to be benefiting the kids in the community.
That's great. Thank you so much for letting me be here. It's exciting to see such a passionate group of community people working together. We're glad to be part of it.
Thank you, Paul and Mary. This is Amy again. I am going to invite Jennifer from CARB to provide some updates.
Hi, Amy. Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. This is Jennifer from CARB. I just wanted to share a few updates. I'll keep it quick since I know we're running out of time here. And I apologize, my camera is broken. But so first things first, our Community Hub 2.0 is now available in Spanish. So if you visit our website, and I'll drop everything in the chat and also send it out to the folks at Valley Air to send via email. So if you go to that website, click on the top right-hand corner where it says Español, you can now have the whole Community 2.0 view in Spanish. Everything is translated. So again, any feedback you have on that would be totally appreciated. And then again, if you missed the July 24th CARB board hearing where we went over the program's annual report, that is now available on YouTube. And I'll share that link as well. And you can also find the materials on the website in Spanish as well. And then lastly, tomorrow, August 14th, there is an AB 32 Environmental Justice Advisory Committee meeting. And I'll share that link with you guys as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. At this time, I'd also like to invite the city of Fresno. I see Adrina Aguilar here and Scott. I think, Adrina, are you still here? I'm not seeing you on my screen. I saw her earlier. Oh, there she is.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so can you see? I'm not sure if my camera's working.
Yeah, this is Amy. We can hear you, but we can't see you. It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. It was nice to hear some of those updates, especially with the school buses. So Andrea Aguilar with Public Works in the city of Fresno. I was the project manager on the truck reroute study and health assessment that took place in the AB 617 community. Last time we came, we provided an update to indicate that to let the CSC know that the plan, the study, and the assessment were both completed. But towards that tail end of the completion process, Assembly Bill 98 was approved. And for those who may not be aware of Assembly 98, it's kind of like a two-part law that was approved by Governor Newsom. There's two important dates in there. The first one indicates that beginning January 1st, 2026, that special design build standards and requirements are going to be placed on logistic use developments. And the second part of that is by January 1st, 2028, cities and counties are to adopt and amend their general plan and include into the circulation element the truck route maps. So at that point, the city acknowledged that we now not only need to evaluate or modify, change the truck routes within AB 617, but we need to take a step back and look at the entire city and evaluate that. So with the completion of both the truck study and the health assessment, we'll be able to use the information that we learned and be able to look at the entire city and make sure that we have those routes now established into our circulation element for the general plan. I know that was a brief update. Are there any questions? While I wait for questions, I will add also that since then the city departments have been working internally to decide what that process will look like. We do anticipate that there will be community outreach to include the different community members throughout the city for input before implementing and modifying the general plan. I see there's a question.
Thank you. And I see Natalie has her hand raised. Please go ahead, Natalie.
Hi, everybody. This is Natalie with CCJN. I do have just two main questions, just because that's slated to be updated by January 28th. Like, will this be like a continuous item, at least in the AB 617 CSC space, just because we haven't heard about it like in a long time, like since last year? And another thing I did want to say is like, if it turns out like the AB 617 truck reroute map is like more stringent than what the city is proposing, like would it be possible just to support like the map the way it is instead of opting for like changes that the city might propose? Just because like I know we had some of our doubts about the map, but if there's any changes that could greatly affect like the AB 617 area, and then the map that was previously proposed actually protects community, like is there a way to ensure that that map is in place because it's like the most protective and like most stringent map, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from and what you're trying to communicate here. So yes, I think as part of the public outreach is keeping AB 617 CSC committee informed of the process for one, and then where we're at for each one. You will have the opportunity to look at ultimately the proposed changes if there are major changes, but we do plan to use all the information and knowledge and expertise that we gained from that study to be able to inform the rest of the city.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We'll make sure to add that as an action item to have you all come back with some of those updates.
Yeah, that would work. Thank you.
Thank you all. I do want to acknowledge that it's 7:32, we're almost done, so we're just a couple minutes over. I see Ivanka has her hand raised. Please go ahead.
How far in advance will the outreach actually start for 2028? Like, do we know that yet? Like, how much time is going to be put into that engagement process? And we don't want it to just be, we're getting updates in this space, but the CSC members that did all this groundwork are invited into those workshops and the space that will be held.
Thank you, Ivanka, for your comment and question. Yes, the CSC would definitely, we would share the information in those events, community events, workshops, open houses with the Air District to be able to share with the CSC members for attendance, because I know how important this topic is, because it all began here in AB 617. And as far as when outreach will start, that's something that we're currently working through. Because it is going to have to involve our planning and development department to coordinate that update along with some other updates that they're doing themselves to be able to get it all done in a timely manner and ensure that we meet that 2028 date.
This is Amy. Thank you again for clarifying that. All right, so at this time, we're going to transition to wrapping up. We will make sure that the action items reported today get sent out via email. If you all have any modifications to the action items, please feel free to let us know. We can update those. Our next meeting will be held Wednesday, November 12th. That is a day after the Veterans holiday, so just want to make sure that you all have that written down. And we do want to make sure that you all remember we're on a quarterly schedule now, so these meetings will continue to happen on Zoom. And we will be sure to solicit any feedback on any agenda items that you would like to propose. We are out of time right now, so if you all have recommendations right now for agenda items, I don't know, Air District, given today's conversation, if you guys have proposed agenda items or anyone else has agenda items, please do feel free to unmute or put your comments in the chat. When we do follow-up calls with community members, we'll be sure to also solicit any agenda items for the November meeting. As a reminder, we're always looking for co-hosts. These meetings are definitely better received and better represented of what community members want to hear when we have a community co-host. So I invite you to volunteer as a community co-host for the November meeting. Are there any public comments at this time before we officially close tonight's meeting? On behalf of all of us who help organize these meetings and on behalf of the entire community, just thank you all for being here. It's always a privilege to be in this space with you and to keep the momentum going despite all of the injustices that continue to happen. You guys are committed to ensuring that there's the best outcomes for the Fresno community. So with that said, we will be sure to connect with you before we meet again in November. And we're looking forward to seeing you then. Good night, everyone.
Night. Thanks, everyone.
Gracias, buenas noches.